Hey guys, Drew here. I wanted to make a little video about some of the books that have been a huge help in just my understanding and gardening, books that I've learned a lot from and that I really recommend. Some are Florida specific and some are not at all. But also there are some books I want to talk about that is kind of just a fun read for those that are interested in growing food, and as well as foraging. But one of the books and authors that I really like is Bonsall, and he doesn't have many books. He has this book, and then he should be coming up with his second book of Through the Eyes of a Stranger. But yeah, so start off with this one. Bonsall's Essential Guide to Radical Self-Reliant Gardening. I got this, I guess, a couple years ago now. It was when I started really diving deep into gardening, and he was just a really interesting figure that was really interested in doing as much as possible himself in terms of inputs and growing his own food and saving seeds. But Bonsall is a really interesting character. He's up in Maine, and if you've never heard of him, I highly recommend just giving a YouTube search. He has a couple of talks that he's done. He's not active on social media really, but really interesting book. Lots of great information and detail on his methods and what he grows, how he grows. He's also vegan, so he doesn't use animal inputs. He uses a lot of green manures, mulch, does use human manure, and he's really big into seed saving, and he talks about that as well. But Bonsall, an excellent guide to research. Get that book if you don't have it already. This book is probably the most in-depth, broad covering, just book that really entails a lot about how you can design your growing systems, but also, on a home level, in terms of really a way of living that is really interesting, makes a lot of sense. This is a very awesome book that has lots of detail, and I haven't finished it, and it's a book that it is a designer's manual. It's more of a book you go to again and again and again when you want to learn about certain topics and certain principles that Bill talks about. But this is an amazing book that, courses have been taught off of this book. There's so much good information in here that it would be worth the money for this book if you buy this, and this will be one that you just go back to again and again and again. So I can't say enough about the designer's manual, the Permaculture book by Bill Mollison. There's also a couple of other books that he has out that I do not have, but would definitely be worth looking into. So this is kind of location specific, but mushrooms of the Gulf Coast states. When I first got into foraging, I immediately got this book because I wanted to be able to cross-reference from online and this book when identifying mushrooms, but also just to learn about the tons of mushrooms and the, just ways of identifying them. And I was very unfamiliar with anything mushroom, so it breaks it up into different groups, and it's a really good book to have if you are in the Gulf Coast states area. So this book is by David the Good, and he has a series of really awesome books to look into, mostly based on Florida and Florida area gardening, but this book would be really good for anybody that was interested in starting a home-based plant nursery. And I had a home-based nursery for about a year. I was selling moringa trees, and I used a lot of the information that he provides in here. And David the Good is just, if you've never looked him up on YouTube, I really recommend it. I learned so much when I first got into gardening, and I still learn all the time. Every time he posts a video, you get to learn, and he's got so much information out. And I have a couple more books that I'll talk about in a second. But this JADAM, Organic Pest Control, and JADAM, Organic Farming, are two amazing books to have as references in terms of a way to grow and to have, you know, different inputs that you can make. That's really simple. It breaks it all down. I've done a little video about this book prior, but this was just something that I thought was extremely important to also show if you want to just get into some of the methods that you can use. And JADAM Organic Farming, as well as the pest and disease control solutions, are amazing. I do want to talk about these books here, and this is again from David the Book, his two-part series of Jack Broccoli novel. If you ever watch David the Good's YouTube videos, you'll see quickly that he's pretty funny, and if you like his humor, then you'll love these books, because he works it in you know, every page essentially, and it's just a really funny read. But there's some references in this book that if you're in the gardening world, that he makes jokes about, and you wouldn't understand it if you weren't in this whole world of gardening. But hilarious. I'm gonna reread these books again, just because I just remember laughing out loud, and it was just a really fun read. There's not many books that are in these two categories right here of, like, you know, fantasy type world, you know, of kind of centered in the, like, gardening world. But oh man, they're such good books for me to read. And there's not any other books like it. Like, there's not any other categories or really authors that I've found that have written in this way. I mean, this book is so, like, poetic in some parts, and just, I don't know, this is a really beautiful book. I can't wait for the second one for him to release. I mean, I don't know when that's gonna happen, but I sure hope so. And I haven't even finished this book, because I don't want to, because I know once I'm done with the book, then when it comes to this kind of books, it's like you just want to save it. You don't want to just read it all right away just because it's that good. And yeah, I'm just excited about these books. I love reading to learn, but also this is like these two authors and these books right here are just such a fun read. But yeah, that's some of the books that I really enjoy, and that I think you would too if you're into gardening, and also some Florida specific stuff. But couldn't recommend these two authors enough, as well as the JADAM books and any of the Korean natural farming stuff, but as well as Bill Mollison. I mean, this guy is like the ultimate legend of all things permaculture, and kind of like the way people are moving towards nowadays in the whole world of gardening and growing and design. But yeah, I'm gonna make another video here shortly about some books that I'm also really interested in, but that aren't too like gardening specific. But I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys check out some of these books.